Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. The flight I was piloting encountered severe turbulence and plummeted 200 meters. My palms were drenched in sweat. Yet I forced myself to remain calm and executed a near-miraculous textbook emergency landing. Surviving such a close call, just thinking about today's events still fills me with fear, even if I were to recount them to Paul. But he remained calm throughout and even asked me, "Can we talk about it later? I have a case I need to discuss in a meeting." The words stuck in my throat. "Let's get married" never came out. After we broke up, when he saw that I had started dating another doctor, he laughed in disbelief. Another one in the same field. He's just as busy as I was. Why put yourself through it again? It's different, I interrupted him. He responds to everything. He treats everything I say as if it were an epitaph. Chapter 1. As usual, I was piloting a flight from City B back to City A. Humming a little tune, I thought to myself, just 30 more minutes until I can see Paul again. But this time, not long after takeoff, the plane started to shake. At first, I thought it was just minor turbulence like before, something I could easily handle. But I didn't expect the turbulence to be unusually strong this time. The plane was already showing signs of losing control. A 9386, prepare for an emergency landing at Songshan Airfield. Please prepare for an emergency landing. The voice came through the intercom. A 9386 received. The plane had already started to sway violently from side to side, and sweat began to form in the palms of my hands. I silently cursed in my heart. In the cabin, the cries of the passengers and the flight attendants' reassurances filled the air. The noisy environment only added to my anxiety, but outwardly I remained calm. Tell the flight attendants to prepare for an emergency landing. Make sure the passengers don't panic, and have them put on their safety equipment in advance. Just as I finished speaking, a loud bang hit the front windshield, and cracks began to spread across the glass. If we didn't land soon, the plane could plummet from the sky at any moment. No one noticed how tightly I was gripping the controls, my veins bulging. Everyone else was panicking and praying for safety. Some passengers even knelt down to pray to the gods. I took a deep breath, watching the cracks in the glass spider webbing outward, and mentally reviewed every bit of knowledge I had ever learned. I pulled the control stick tightly, and the plane began a steep descent. It felt like something in my mind was about to snap. I had to succeed. I promised Paul the first would land safely and go see him. In a split second, Paul's name flashed through my mind, but my hands kept moving. At the very limit of the windshield's cracks, the wheels screeched and smoked as the plane finally came to a halt. The passengers were cheering as we touched down. We were saved. I knew better than anyone that if I had made the slightest mistake, the plane would have crashed and everyone on board would have died. It felt like all the strength had been drained from my body, and my legs felt weak as I disembarked. Once we reached safety, I immediately called Paul. He didn't pick up, so I turned around, hailed a cab and headed straight home. Paul is a brilliant surgeon, young and accomplished. My family is very pleased with him. A pilot and a doctor. It sounds like a match made in heaven, even though we're both busy. When Paul got home, I rushed to him, ignoring my own exhaustion. He just lightly patted me on the back. "I just finished surgery. I need to change and clean up. If you're hungry, just order takeout." Paul is always busy. Almost all of his time is devoted to medicine. It's the same routine as always. When there's surgery, going 48 hours without sleep is normal. After work, he still has to study cases, read research papers, and keep improving himself. In the past, I would obediently order nourishing soup for him. Or I'd come home early, make dinner, and quietly watch him work and study. But this time I clung to him and wouldn't let go. What happened earlier still sends a chill down my spine every time I think about it. "Paul, you don't know how dangerous it was today. If I wasn't skilled enough, you wouldn't be seeing me right now. I've never encountered turbulence this strong before." The plane was about to flip. I was scared my sweaty hands would lose control of the stick or press the wrong button. As Paul walked to the bedroom to change clothes, I followed him, rambling on. "Do you think I should go to a temple and pray? I feel like I'm the chosen one. Anyone else would have died." The whole cabin was in chaos. People were crying and even cursing at me. I kept chattering behind him. But Paul, without even planning to eat, sat straight at his computer reading documents. He also opened up some of his saved research papers. I plopped down on his lap trying to interrupt him. Paul, after I got off the plane, I truly felt like I'd survived a near-death experience. Paul didn't even look up and began picking up grains of rice from the table with forceps, one of the daily exercises surgeons do to keep their hands steady. He was so focused that since his right arm was holding me, he switched to using his left. My heart began to sink. I had just gone through a life-threatening ordeal, and he didn't ask if I was hurt or if I was hungry. He just kept picking up rice like nothing had happened. Paul, are you even listening to me? Hearing that, Paul adjusted his glasses.
I'm listening.
Is there anything else? Then he pushed me off. It felt like someone had poured a bucket of cold water over me from head to toe. But his expression remained unchanged. It was as if today was no different from any other day. I have a meeting. We'll talk later. Paul raised his hand, ready to close the door. I grabbed him tightly, looking at his face without a hint of guilt. Aren't you worried about me? It was really dangerous. What if I had actually died? Paul slowly pried my hand off his arm. Before shutting the door, he said word by word, Anna, you should have known before becoming a pilot that accidents can happen at any time. At that moment, it felt like someone was squeezing my heart, making it hard to breathe. The words "let's get married" stuck in my throat, never to be spoken. Chapter 2. I sat on the couch, staring blankly at Paul's bedroom. I thought back to how Paul had always been like this. His emotions were always so steady like the surface of a still lake. But when he confessed to me, I saw his nervousness. At that moment, I knew clearly he loved me. So why do I still feel so upset? It's not like I didn't know he's this kind of person. He's always been like this. Even when I lose my temper or act unreasonably, he never really blames me. Honestly, I really wanted to say earlier, Paul, I was afraid I'd never see you again. When I was in danger, besides thinking about how to land safely and ensure the passenger's safety, your name flashed through my mind in that instant. I was so scared that I wouldn't be able to hug you again, hear your voice, or sit by your side. But the emotions that were about to overflow were abruptly cut off by him saying he had a meeting. I know he's busy and ambitious, but can't he balance work and feelings? He's always so patient with his patients. I once visited him at the hospital, and he was polite and professional at work. With a gentle but not distant smile on his face, the young nurses and women would squeal quietly when they saw him. They would twist themselves into knots just at the sight of him. Thinking of this, I got up, planning to throw another tantrum. After all, he won't get angry. What's wrong with comforting your girlfriend? But just as I reached the door, I heard a woman's laughter coming from the bedroom. Oh, Paul has a girlfriend. You guys shouldn't always pair me with him. Then Paul's voice followed with a hint of indulgence that was barely noticeable. It's okay. I don't mind it when it's you. I stood at the door feeling like my whole body had been frozen in place. I couldn't move. Senior, we can joke around in private, but it wouldn't be good if your girlfriend heard this. It's fine. She won't get mad. Tears started to roll down my cheeks. Is it fine? I won't get mad. It's not that I won't get mad, it's that I don't dare. Even when I got upset with him before, it was always about trivial things. I just wanted to test if he loved me, but I never dared to push too far. Because I knew that if I ever mentioned breaking up, Paul would really end it. Chapter 3. Outside the door, I felt a chill like a thick layer of dust had settled over me. Inside the room, they were laughing and joking. After a long while, I sat back down on the couch. I stared blankly at that door. Maybe it was too quiet in the living room because despite the door separating us, the conversation inside felt piercing loud and clear. Senior, tomorrow is my first surgery. I'm so scared. Don't be afraid. I'm there with you. I bit my lip hard, clenched my fists, and forced my trembling body to calm down. When Paul finally came out of the meeting, he immediately saw me sitting in the living room. Why aren't you sleeping? Who is she? I couldn't hold it in anymore, so I asked.
No outburst, no accusations.
Oh, she's my former advisor's daughter. She's interning at our hospital, and my professor asked me to look after her. Are you jealous? There's nothing between us. She's just a little girl who doesn't know anything, unlike you who's so mature. I felt a bit more at ease. Then why did you comfort her and tell her not to be afraid? But you never said that to me? Okay, this time I'm wrong. How about this? I'll be off in a few days, and I'll take you to that steakhouse you love. As Paul spoke, he pulled me into his arms and ruffled my hair. The familiar routine, the familiar words. It's always like this. Every time he comforts me, it's in a few days when I'm off, I'll take you somewhere. The first time he didn't keep that promise, I thought he was just busy. The second time, I thought it was an accident. By the fourth or fifth time, I just told myself, forget it, as long as he has the intention, that's enough. After all, his job really is demanding. It's not like he's off cheating or going on dates. But now I really want to ask him, does this even make sense? Am I that easy to fool? Is that why I've been falling for the same routine all this time? Is it really that hard to spend one day with me? Is it that difficult to keep just one promise? Chapter 4. Lost in my thoughts, I fell asleep. The shock of the day combined with the adrenaline had taken its toll. But even in sleep, I was restless. I dreamt that the plane still crashed. I dreamt that Paul ended up with that girl. I dreamt that the girl gently asked Paul, "Senior, are we doing the right thing? After all, your wife just passed away. It's okay, she wouldn't be mad." Tears soaked my pillow and I woke up crying, only to realize it was just a dream. Paul was sleeping soundly next to me. I wanted to check his phone, but I held back. What if there really was something between them? Would I break down 'cause a scene and then break up? But if there wasn't anything, would I end up feeling guilty for doubting him? When I woke up the next day, Paul had already gone to work. Yesterday's textbook emergency landing had gone viral on various platforms. Everyone was praising how if it hadn't been for the pilot's skills, the entire plane might have been lost. I casually scrolled through some of the comments. Wow, just watching this is terrifying. I can't imagine how scared the people on board must have been. I didn't expect the pilot to be a woman. She must have nerves of steel. If I were her, I wouldn't want to go back to work anytime soon. I was deep in thought, reading the comments when my best friend suddenly called. Oh my God. Why didn't you tell me something so big happened? That's terrifying. I laughed and joked, saying it was nothing. Come on, do you know who I am? I have top-notch professional skills. That doesn't matter. You're a girl and we're friends. What if something had really happened to you? What if we never saw you again? Why don't you ask your boss for some time off? I'm worried something might happen to you. I smiled and calmly reassured her that everything was fine. But as we talked, tears began to fall again. I'm really fine. Chapter 5. Paul and I are both busy. I don't know where my next flight will go or when I'll be back. He doesn't know how long his next surgery will take. We hardly see each other, which is why I treasure every moment we have together. Even if my flight lands late, I always rush home as fast as I can. The sooner I get back, the longer we can spend together. Even if he's busy with surgery, I can wait for him at home. I cook dinner at home, hiding the blisters I get from hot oil. He'll occasionally give a comment, though most of the time he doesn't like the food, just takes a bite and leaves. I feel disappointed. After all that effort, I get no appreciation. But then I think about it. After such a tiring day, who would want to eat bad food? I've never said anything. I just tried harder to learn how to cook better. I wanted to be his emotional support so that when he came home he could relax. That's why I never bothered him with petty arguments. But can Paul really not see that I'm unhappy? He's a doctor. The most important thing is attention to detail. He can even easily detect his patient's emotions. How could he not notice my efforts, my hopes, and my disappointments? Even this time, with my emotions all over the place, I don't believe he didn't notice. I don't believe he doesn't know. But he couldn't even be bothered to comfort me. He wouldn't even move his lips to say a kind word. As I thought about it more, I seemed to understand something. I turned around and started packing my things. I'm not that blind. I can clearly see when someone doesn't care and isn't willing to make an effort. In the past, I would always make excuses for him, seeing him through rose-colored glasses. But this time, after packing up, I remembered there was a bracelet I loved that I had left at Paul's place. It was a matching set for couples. I had even taken the bracelet to a temple to have it blessed for safety and smooth journeys. I climbed thousands of steps one by one because I was told this temple was the most spiritual. At the time, I pestered him to wear it. Even though he didn't like it, he still accepted it. How ridiculous. I'm the one flying planes every day, yet I didn't ask for a charm for myself. Instead, I gave it to Paul. Carrying my luggage, I headed straight to the hospital, thinking I should take the bracelet back. But before I even entered, I saw Paul in his office, laughing and chatting with a girl. I could only see her wavy hair from the back, but even just hearing her voice, I could tell she was radiant. "Senior, this bracelet is really nice. Did your girlfriend give it to you? If you like it, you can have it." "Thanks." They exchanged light-hearted words so effortlessly. I always rack my brain trying to get Paul to talk to me, but with her it's so easy. I walk straight in. "That's my bracelet. If you don't like it, give it back." The girl was startled. "But, Senior gave it to me." I said, "It's mine. Didn't you hear me?" My voice was already tinged with anger. Paul noticed and tried to calm me down. "Anna, it's just a bracelet. If she likes it, let her have it." I brushed past him and grabbed it. The girl resisted, not wanting to let go. During the struggle, the bracelet snapped. If that wasn't enough to make me lose control, Paul's next words shattered my last emotional defense. "Anna, it's just a bracelet. I'll buy you another one. Can you stop making a scene?" If I still had any expectations for Paul before, at this moment I was truly done. "Paul, are you saying I'm being unreasonable?" My voice was trembling uncontrollably. Chapter 6. Okay, Senior sis, please don't fight because of me. It's my fault. Zoe stepped forward. As she spoke, her hand naturally rested on Paul's arm. That scene made my heart ache instantly. Paul didn't seem to notice anything and lightly patted her hand in response. "Anna," Paul called my name. I knew he was angry too. But what right did he have to be angry? Was it because I embarrassed him, putting him in a difficult spot? Or because I didn't back down and was making a scene? "Paul, that bracelet. Remember I spent 6 hours climbing Tianhua Mountain to have it blessed. You know that. And now you've just given it away so easily and it's broken. And you expect me to just let it go? Do you think I'm some kind of fool in your eyes?" I couldn't hold it in any longer. I had had enough. My emotions exploded at that moment. My heart was pounding, and even my temples throbbed with each pulse. "Go home first. We'll talk about it later." Paul's voice broke the silence, carrying an air of authority. Just as I was about to say something more, the office phone rang. "Doctor, come quick. The patient seems to be having a post-op complication." As soon as the call ended, Paul and Zoe walked out without looking back. Their silhouettes were like two soldiers marching into battle side by side. "Anna, stop making a scene." Those were the last words Paul left in my ears before they left. He hadn't even noticed the suitcase I'd been holding in my hand the entire time. I knew I looked like a fool at that moment. His calm, rational demeanor contrasted sharply with my hysterics. Anyone would think I was the one being unreasonable. Chapter 7. I met Paul on one of my flights. He was sitting quietly in first class working on his laptop. A white shirt, clean-cut short hair, and striking features. He sat there calm and composed. The cabin was filled with a woody fragrance that matched Paul's demeanor. Maybe it was fate, but I kept running into him on other flights after that. Eventually, I made the first move and struck up a conversation with him. He told me he was sent out on research by his professor, so he would be traveling a lot during that time. I thought we would just remain casual contacts on WeChat, but 6 months later we met again. After that, we gradually got closer. Even when things between us were at their most intimate, Paul was always so calm and unruffled. Like a still lake that couldn't be stirred no matter how many stones you threw into it. I could never quite figure him out. Just when I was about to give up, he invited me to see a movie. After the movie, his voice for once carried a hint of nervousness. "Anna, can I like you?" His confession was so abrupt, like a college boy experiencing his first crush. I couldn't help but laugh. Of course you can. A female pilot and a medical student. In other people's eyes, we were a perfect match. But I don't know when it started, when I began to feel so small in this relationship. I needed more and more proof that he loved me. I needed more and more validation from him. In 3 years, I became the version of myself that I used to dislike the most. Compromising. Trying too hard to please. All for his happiness, just for one word of praise from him. I, someone who never even lifted a finger in the kitchen, learned how to cook and make soup. Once upon a time, I was the one everyone pursued. Being a female pilot wasn't easy, and I worked hard to achieve it. But this time I'm truly exhausted and I finally see things clearly. Paul is a considerate person. His interactions with others have never caused any trouble. His boss likes him, his professors like him, his patients and coworkers all like him. He knew it would hurt me, yet he did it anyway. He never used his care and attentiveness on me. I sent him a message. Let's break up. Then I grabbed my suitcase and left. I had planned to say a proper goodbye, but I never thought it would end like this. Chapter 8. I even felt a bit of regret. Why didn't I just slap him earlier? If I had known it would end like this, why did I even bother maintaining my image? I took the earliest flight back home. It's funny really, how I was always so eager to see Paul, yet I'd forgotten that I hadn't visited my parents in half a year. By the time I got home, it was already evening. There wasn't a single message from Paul. He's probably busy fighting battles with Zoe side by side. No time for these matters of love. I thought for a moment, then blocked and deleted him. My mom was thrilled to see me home. How long are you staying this time? She asked, holding my hands and looking me up and down. About half a month. My parents didn't ask too many questions, just smiled and nudged me toward the dinner table. Did you and Paul have a fight? My dad asked softly. I was just about to say something when I saw my mom elbow him. I knew that ever since I was a child, I'd always been independent, and my parents had always respected my decisions. Even when I turned down an international flight position for Paul and switched to the B city to a city route without consulting them, they didn't say anything. At the time, my dad simply patted my shoulder and said, "We support you, but think it through. Is he really worth giving up the wider skies?" Thinking about this, my nose suddenly stung with emotion. I broke up with him. It's okay, it's okay. To be honest, your mom and I never liked him anyway. My dad had barely finished his sentence before he got smacked again. My mom glared at him, giving him a, "Why did you have to say that?" look while my dad sat there completely puzzled. "I'm just telling the truth. You didn't like him either," he said, still confused. "Shut up, no one's asking you." My mom, fed up, turned to comfort me. "Breaking up is good. Now you can spend more time with us. I'll find you someone else." Just as I was feeling touched, my parents managed to kill the mood in a second. Great, I just broke up. And they're already planning to set me up with someone new. But I never knew they had issues with Paul. In front of me, they always seemed supportive. Later, my mom told me she had seen it from the start. It might have looked like Paul was the one who confessed to me, but in reality, I was the one chasing after him. He just enjoyed the way I treated him. Something that others could see in an instant took me 3 years to understand. When my best friend found out I had broken up, she hesitated for a moment. She didn't think we would end things so easily. I understood why. After all, I threatened to break up before. And it's not like she didn't know how much I loved Paul. Maybe this time it's really over," I said. On the third day after returning home, I received a call from Paul. "Anna, where are you?" He didn't mention the breakup at all, as if he assumed I was just joking. "Paul, we broke up. I won't be coming back to you anymore. Don't contact me again." "Anna, are you throwing a tantrum? Haven't I told you before that I don't like hearing those 2 words? Paul's voice was unusually angry. I gave a cold laugh. It was always like this. He used to say he didn't want me to throw the word breakup around. He said he loved me, but he just didn't show it. And he hoped I wouldn't act like other girls who treat breakups lightly. To him, once a breakup was mentioned, it was final. So after bringing it up once, I rarely did it again. As if his order was proof that he truly loved me. Get lost. Stop making me sick. I hung up the phone and blocked his number. I took my mom's advice and went on a blind date. Apparently, she had been planning it for a while. First, I wanted to resist. But I couldn't hold out, and I didn't want to spend the entire half-month at home listening to her nag. The guy on the other side of the table was polite and well-mannered. He said he had just returned from getting his PhD abroad, and his family had immediately started pressuring him to get married. I asked him what his job was, and he said he was a doctor. I felt my smile freeze on my face. Had I stepped into a nest of doctors? I thought it would be a simple dinner, and that we wouldn't have any further contact. But to my surprise, Eric started contacting me every day. If it wasn't about what he ate, it was about how cute the cat he saw on the street was. Sometimes I even wondered if he had faked his degree. What kind of doctor has so much time to flirt? Gradually, we became closer. He even started coming over to my house for meals. Both my parents were absolutely delighted after meeting Eric. At dinner, they kept praising how excellent I was, which left me blushing and feeling embarrassed. Mom, stop. He's got a PhD from abroad. Why are you boasting so much? Auntie is right, you really are excellent, Eric said softly. I was stunned for a moment, and my mom gave him the biggest, most approving smile. I never expected Paul would show up at my door. On what was an otherwise ordinary day, my parents thought Eric had arrived and excitedly went to open the door. When they saw who it was, their faces instantly fell. We ate dinner in silence. Anna, why did you break up with me? Paul asked, sitting in my room clearly confused. Do you really not know why? I shot back. Is it because I didn't comfort you after the plane incident? Or because of the broken bracelet? Aren't these all small things? Besides, that girl is my advisor's daughter. I just couldn't. I cut him off before he could finish. You just couldn't stop hurting me, right? Paul instinctively tried to deny it. Didn't I say I'd make it up to you? I was going to take you to your favorite steakhouse. Oh, and how many times have you actually followed through on your promises? Even when we broke up, it took you almost 2 weeks to remember to come find me. Paul, you and I live in different worlds. Just leave. I'm giving you one last chance. Are you sure you want to break up? Before I could respond, Eric arrived. Some people announce their presence long before they show up. Even from my room, I could hear him calling out, Auntie, I'm here to see Anna. Then my door swung open. The tension in the room spiked with Paul's demeanor immediately turning dark. You're breaking up with me because of him, aren't you? I slapped him hard across the face. Paul, do you really want me to say it? Do you think I don't know what you and Zoe have been doing? You sent her flowers on Valentine's Day, sent her cute emojis. You told me as a doctor you were afraid of carrying bacteria, so you never let me touch any pets. But you still helped her bathe her pets. You said you were too busy to share your daily life. But what do you call the pictures of the sunset you sent her after work? My words were all over the place, but Paul was left speechless. All he could say was, let me explain. That night, I had checked his phone and saw that while he was sending me half-hearted responses like and, oh, he was turning around and laughing with her. While I was trying to figure out if his mood swings were because of work, he was out shopping with someone else. He always said that buying flowers was pointless because they'd just wither soon, but then he turned around and gave them to someone else. In the end, it wasn't that flowers had no meaning. It was that I wasn't worth it. Eric pulled him out of the door. It wasn't until half a month after the breakup that I truly felt its weight. The tears wouldn't stop flowing. It turns out I only just realized now that Paul never loved me. Even his attempts to win me back were laughable. An order and an accusation. He was so sure I'd never leave him that he acted without any restraint. But thankfully, it's all over now. After a good cry, I felt an emptiness settle in my heart. If this had been before, I would have been over the moon if Paul came to ask me to reconcile. But when I saw him today, I realized he's just a complete jerk. From the moment we broke up until now, I've been acting like nothing was wrong, and finally today, all the pent-up emotions came crashing down. Chapter 9. My vacation ended, and I threw myself back into work with everything I had. As for Eric, I thought he'd give up. But to my surprise, he only became more persistent, even booking flights on the same routes as mine multiple times. And he kept saying it was a coincidence. I asked him if he had too much free time. He said, I'm a doctor, I'm busy saving lives. I told him to go back to work. He pouted and said, but love is a lifelong commitment. I couldn't understand how someone who appeared so cold and professional could do something like this. Eric pursued me relentlessly for 6 months. In the end, I said yes. Because of my previous relationship, I always kept my guard up. He knew that, but he never complained. During holidays and weekends, he would travel to my city whenever he had the time. He said it was what he should do. Even when he had surgery, he would text me before going in, estimating how long the operation would take. I always thought surgeries were unpredictable. He said that from the moment you see the case, you know how long it'll take unless there's an emergency. It turns out even when it came to surgeries, Paul had been lying to me. I ran into Paul again a year later. He looked disheveled, with stubble on his face, and his usually pristine clothes were wrinkled. He looked nothing like his old self. Anna, I finally got the chance to transfer to the same city as you. Now you'll never have to fly routes to B City just to accommodate me again. I couldn't believe that in the year he'd been gone, this is what he had been doing. For a moment, I didn't know if I should praise him for his dedication. Why did he wait until now to do something he could have done long ago? After I had taken 99 steps toward him, he finally took one step. I don't love you anymore, Paul. A year had passed and I had long since forgotten about him. But it seemed he couldn't accept it. He kept asking me why. You used to love me so much. Why, after just 1 year, did you forget about our 3 years together in just 1 year? I took a step back, putting distance between us. You said it yourself, that was before. A year is a long time, and yet you only came to find me now. What were you doing before? Self-pity and emotional manipulation no longer worked on me. Chapter 10. Eric continued to treat me well. Being with him, I gradually returned to who I used to be. I said what I wanted to say. I yelled when I wanted to yell. I didn't have to worry about whether he was too busy or whether he'd be upset. He told me I could be whoever I wanted to be. I could stand still and he would come to me. Anna, please, I just can't forget you. I'm begging you. Paul's voice over the phone was shaky with tears. He said he'd been diagnosed with depression. He used to think no matter what, I'd always be there for him. He thought that even without me, he could still go on. It wasn't like he hadn't tried to win Zoe over. But after I left, he realized how completely wrong he was. Zoe was impossible to deal with, and I had been the only one who could tolerate him. I knew what this was. He was just seeing me as a backup after comparing me to others. Paul somehow managed to get multiple phone numbers to keep calling me. After a while, I stopped answering any unknown numbers. This time, when I picked up out of frustration, it was the hospital. They told me a patient had attempted suicide by taking pills, and I was listed as the emergency contact. Paul had overdosed on sleeping pills. After we broke up, his life fell apart. He made mistakes at work. Zoe had long since lost interest in him, and when he tried to come back to me, I wasn't exactly welcoming. Unable to handle all the setbacks, Paul finally broke down. Anna, I'm sorry for troubling you again. Paul apologized from his hospital bed, looking gaunt and hollow-eyed. His voice was hoarse as he spoke. I sat by his bedside, watching him in silence. You came. So that means a part of you still cares about me, right? Just as he finished speaking, Eric arrived. I immediately ran over and took Eric's hand. Eric too shot Paul a cold, unfriendly look. I smiled and showed Paul the ring on my finger.
Paul, I'm engaged.
Stop doing things like this. You're disgusting to me now. With that, I walked out with Eric, leaving Paul behind looking ashen-faced. Yes, I called Eric here to settle the score once and for all, and now I've done it. I doubted Paul would ever bother me again. Eric and I got married just as we had planned. I was grateful I had woken up from my delusion early and grateful I had gone on that blind date. It brought me to someone who was willing to listen to my ramblings. Someone willing to put up with my moods and hear me out, even when I was just talking nonsense. Sometimes choosing a different path brings you to a completely different landscape. The Inn.